It was not recognized at all as being anything interesting when it was discovered. It was just a corroded lump about the size of a large dictionary. Anything from ancient Greece simply shouldn't have gear wheels.
For over a century, the Antikythera Shipwreck has captivated historians and scientists alike, famous for yielding what's considered the world's first computer. But what if that wasn't the only astonishing object hidden beneath the waves?
This is a massive step forward in the history of science and technology, something we take for granted now. But in those days, the idea that your scientific theories could be mechanized, the predictions could be mechanized, was absolutely astonishing.
In 2024, divers equipped with high-tech metal suits returned to the same seabed and brought up something so baffling that experts are refusing to even name it. This mysterious find challenges everything we thought we understood about ancient technology and the ship's cargo. What lies in that sealed laboratory in Athens could rewrite history. And it's only the beginning. What exactly did these divers uncover? And why is the world still waiting for answers? The uncharted artifact. In May 2024, divers using modern atmospheric diving suits returned to the Antikythera wreck, exploring areas that had never been investigated before. Their goal was not to recover another version of the famous mechanism, but to survey untouched sections of the seabed. What they retrieved, however, immediately puzzled experts. In official reports, the item is described only as an object requiring further analysis, a deliberately vague phrase used when archaeologists cannot yet classify a discovery. That hesitation is highly unusual. Specialists who have spent decades studying Mediterranean shipwrecks and can readily identify coins, tools, statues, and ship fittings are reportedly uncertain about what they are seeing. The object appears to contain precision-engineered components, including gear-like structures that should not exist outside the known Antikythera mechanism. Its complexity suggests a level of technological design that does not fit comfortably within current understanding of ancient Greek engineering. Because of this uncertainty, the artifact was immediately sealed and transferred to a secure laboratory in Athens, where it remains under close study away from public view. The implications are significant. The Antikythera wreck has long been celebrated for producing the ancient astronomical calculator, but this new find suggests that the technological story of the ship may be more complex than previously thought. Researchers are now forced to consider whether the mechanism was truly unique or part of a broader, lost tradition of mechanical innovation. At present, key questions remain unanswered: what the object is, how it functioned, and why it was transported aboard this vessel. The ship itself was no small trading craft. Estimates suggest it measured between 40 and 50 meters in length, comparable to the largest Roman merchant ships. It carried a valuable and varied cargo, including bronze statues and marble works that were already ancient at the time of its sinking. This indicates a highly valuable and curated shipment, likely destined for elite patrons or wealthy collectors. The newly explored debris field where this object was recovered may still contain further undiscovered materials that could reshape understanding of ancient trade networks. For archaeologists, this discovery pushes against the boundaries of established knowledge. After more than a century of study at the site, most finds have been identifiable within known categories. This object, however, resists classification entirely. That uncertainty is precisely what makes it so significant. In archaeology, the inability to name something often signals that it falls outside the known historical framework. The cautious language used by researchers reflects the weight of the discovery. Unlike the Antikythera mechanism, which took decades of study to fully appreciate, this artifact remains in early stages of analysis. Its secrecy and ambiguity have already generated intense interest within academic circles. Adding to the broader context, human remains recovered from earlier excavations provide a somber reminder of the tragedy behind the shipwreck. These individuals who died in the sinking over 2,000 years ago are now being studied through DNA analysis to determine their origins and identities. Together, these discoveries continue to deepen the mystery of Antikythera, raising the question of what other secrets still lie beneath the sea. Beneath these unanswered questions lies the story of the shipwreck itself, a story woven from centuries of plunder, loss, and unexpected technological brilliance. Revisiting a legendary wreck. The Antikythera Shipwreck was discovered in 1900 off a small Greek island in the Aegean Sea when sponge divers came across a remarkable underwater site. What first looked like corroded debris turned out to be one of the most important archaeological discoveries ever made. Over the next 2 years, divers using primitive helmet and hose equipment recovered bronze statues, marble sculptures, amphorae, and coins, revealing a Roman-era ship likely carrying looted Greek treasures taken after the sack of Athens in 86 BC. Rather than ordinary cargo, the ship appears to have been a floating treasury filled with high-value artworks and cultural artifacts. Among the most notable finds was the Antikythera Youth, a finely crafted bronze statue possibly depicting Perseus, now displayed in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. The range and quality of objects confirmed the ship's role in transporting elite artistic works across the ancient Mediterranean. In 1902, a discovery changed everything. In a corroded lump stored in a museum, researcher Valerio Staes noticed precisely cut gear teeth embedded in the metal. This was later identified as the Antikythera mechanism, the earliest known analog computer designed to calculate astronomical positions and eclipse centuries ahead of similar technology. Its gears were engineered with extraordinary precision, modeling complex celestial cycles such as lunar motion using a pin and slot system. These capabilities, dating to around 60 BC, challenged assumptions about ancient technological limits and continue to raise questions about lost knowledge and forgotten engineering traditions. For decades, the Antikythera mechanism has been studied in increasing detail. Modern computed tomography scans revealed at least 30 interlocking gears, confirming it was a highly advanced analog device. Its design modeled the heavens, tracking lunar phases and the 5 visible planets. This provides strong evidence that the ancient world was capable of building sophisticated mechanical computers. Yet despite this, the mechanism long appeared to be unique. The wreck itself is now understood to be quite a bit larger than people first assumed, likely around 40 to 50 meters long, sort of comparable with the biggest Roman merchant ships. That scale implies it didn't just transport valuable artworks either, but also a sizable company of workers, maybe even guards or officials, keeping an eye on the cargo. Human remains pulled up in more recent seasons back up that the sinking was no small mishap. It was a major tragedy, taking multiple lives. Since it was discovered, repeated expeditions have kept turning up fresh material, but the place has never been fully exhausted. In 1900, the early sponge divers worked in really dangerous conditions, and those deaths and severe injuries underline how hard the wreck was to reach in the first place. Now, modern tools have changed the whole reality, so researchers can explore deeper and for longer in ways that are safer than before. Even after a century of investigation, every new dive still finds areas of the seabed that nobody had seen clearly, or not in detail. These discoveries keep extending the narrative of the wreck, suggesting that a lot of it still sits unexplored beneath sediment and rock, sort of quietly waiting. Taken together, the Antikythera Shipwreck is a rare blend of technical brilliance, artistic treasure, and unmistakable human loss held underwater. It remains one of the Mediterranean's most important archaeological puzzles. And even now, after decades of study, it still leaves open the idea that quite a portion of its story has yet to come to light. As new discoveries continue to emerge, the broader context of this legendary wreck grows more complex and enigmatic. The technological marvel, Antikythera mechanism. The Antikythera mechanism is the most remarkable artifact from the shipwreck, reshaping views of ancient technology. Built from at least 30 bronze gears, it is widely considered the world's first analog computer. It calculated astronomical events, such as eclipses, lunar phases, and planetary positions visible to the naked eye. Its gears were machined with extraordinary precision, with tolerances in fractions of a millimeter, suggesting a highly advanced engineering tradition. One mechanism even used a pin and slot system to model the moon's variable orbit, a concept not formally described until Kepler nearly 1,700 years later. X-ray and tomography studies since the 1970s have revealed its layered structure, showing a device encoding complex astronomical cycles. It could predict eclipses, track lunar and solar patterns, and map planetary motion, reflecting knowledge of celestial mechanics far ahead of its time. Despite its sophistication, the mechanism was compact enough to fit in a wooden box, making it portable and practical rather than purely theoretical. It may have been used by astronomers or navigators, challenging assumptions that such technology did not exist in antiquity. One of the greatest mysteries is its uniqueness, kind of like its singularness. Ancient writers did reference devices for tracking the heavens, but still no equal or comparable mechanism has ever really been found. That leaves this lingering question about whether it was a solitary masterpiece or maybe part of a missing tradition, and also whether similar tools are still hiding in museum storage, just not recognized or cataloged properly. Some theories argue that many of these things were lost because bronze recycling was common and thorough. Others, more stubbornly, say it was a one-off genius invention, a sort of rare burst of know-how. Then there is the additional thought that more examples do exist, but they get treated as corroded metal fragments, as if the artifacts are just leftovers, not evidence. The 2024 expedition's findings add yet another angle. The mechanism may not have been unique at all. Seeing it alongside other unexplained artifacts points toward a wider tradition of mechanical workmanship, a practical craft lineage that historians are only now beginning to piece together. Overall, the Antikythera mechanism stays a crucial key for understanding how lost ancient innovation actually worked, because it ties bronze gears to a forgotten record of scientific achievement that still throws off modern assumptions. It keeps driving ongoing research as newer technologies uncover more details about its construction and the remarkably sophisticated awareness of its creators. As the exploration continues, so does the hope that the mystery of the ancient world's technological prowess will soon be revealed even further. Modern exploration breakthroughs. For more than a century after the Antikythera Shipwreck's discovery, underwater exploration was limited by early diving technology. Sponge divers using primitive helmet and hose systems worked at dangerous depths, often with fatal consequences. It was not until the 21st century that modern equipment dramatically expanded what archaeologists could access beneath the sea. A major breakthrough came in 2012 when archaeologist Brendan Foley returned with advanced deep-sea tools. This led to the 2014 use of the exosuit, a 530-pound atmospheric diving system developed by Phil Newton. Functioning like a wearable submarine, it allowed divers to work safely at depths that would otherwise be lethal, extending dive times from seconds to hours. This transformed underwater archaeology at Antikythera. The exosuit enabled precise excavation of previously unreachable areas, allowing fragile artifacts to be carefully examined and recovered. It opened parts of the wreck untouched since the sinking, reshaping the scope of research. In 2024, a joint Greek and Swiss team returned with upgraded equipment and methods. Their surveys led to the discovery of a second debris field away from the main wreck, confirming the ship broke apart during sinking and scattered its cargo across a much wider area than previously believed. At the same time, breakthroughs in laboratory science have kind of reshaped what happens after recovery. High-resolution computed tomography lets researchers look at corrosion-covered objects without messing them up, while DNA analysis of human remains gives clues about identities and even where those people came from. Well, together these methods turn what used to feel like static artifacts into sort of a wellspring of detailed historical information. The pairing of deep-sea engineering and lab science also rearranged underwater archaeology in a real way. Places like Antikythera are not really treated as fixed displays of things anymore. Instead, they're viewed as living sources of ongoing discovery. With every technological improvement, new layers of information come into view that were, for a long time, out of reach. The exosuit in particular feels like a turning point, bridging the divide between human exploration and extreme environments. It has enabled discoveries such as the unclassified 2024 artifact by making it possible for archaeologists to go farther, remain longer, and work with more exactness than ever before. And as diving technology keeps evolving, the possibility for discovery keeps climbing too. The Antikythera wreck still isn't fully understood, and every advancement implies that more remains are likely tucked away beneath the waves, waiting to be brought up, or at least uncovered. The treasures and mysteries pulled from these deep seabed layers lead us to reconsider what else might remain hidden, particularly in the second debris field that has just begun to yield its secrets. New discoveries in the second debris field. The identification of a second debris field marks a major turning point in the Antikythera Shipwreck investigation. Unlike the main site excavated decades ago, this area remained untouched, preserving artifacts buried under sediment. The ship broke apart over a wide area, meaning many remains likely still lie hidden, waiting for modern deep-sea tools to recover them. In 2022, researchers uncovered a marble head believed to depict Hercules, showing exceptional craftsmanship similar to finds from the main wreck. This confirmed the site was far from fully explored and still contains significant cultural material in the second debris field. Human remains have also been discovered, including teeth and bone fragments dating back 2,000 years. These are being studied in Athens using DNA analysis to learn more about the crew's origins, ancestry, and possible social status, offering a direct link to those who perished in the sinking. Together, these finds highlight the scale of the tragedy, showing the ship carried both valuable cargo and people whose remains were preserved in the seabed. In 2024, excavations also turned up bronze bits that do not really line up with any catalog statues or other artifacts already known. What they were for is still foggy, and researchers stay cautious when reading into them, saying they could be unfamiliar or even incomplete pieces from antiquity, or something like that. Some materials are being kept in secure Athens labs for further study. There, investigators are looking at objects that don't sit comfortably in a clear category, but so far, no firm conclusions are coming out right. The second debris field is only partly uncovered, mostly because of depth and the way the sediment behaved, each season showing limited but still meaningful new material. Taken together, these discoveries are broadening the Antikythera Shipwreck narrative, pointing to a more tangled cargo and a richer story than people thought earlier. The ongoing work keeps nudging, and sometimes even challenging, assumptions about ancient maritime commerce, craftsmanship, and what the ancient world could actually do technologically. With new technologies uncovering what once was hidden, the line between the past and present blurs, setting the stage for revelations that could change everything we thought we knew about the ancient world. The implications of multiple mechanisms. The Antikythera mechanism remains an enigma not only for its complexity, but because it appears unique in the archaeological record. Ancient texts hint at astronomical devices, yet no other comparable analog computer has been found in shipwrecks, ruins, or museum collections. This singularity raises the question of whether it was an isolated invention or part of a lost technological tradition. Its precision engineering, gears cut to fractions of a millimeter, implies highly skilled craftsmen and organized workshops capable of advanced mechanical design. Such expertise would normally be replicated and passed down through apprenticeships, making the absence of similar devices a central mystery. One theory suggests it was a one-off creation by a lone genius whose knowledge was never transmitted. Another proposes that similar mechanisms once existed, but were lost when bronze was routinely recycled in antiquity, erasing much of the material record. A third possibility is that more devices survive but remain unrecognized in museum collections, mistaken for corroded fragments. The original Antikythera mechanism itself went unnoticed for years before its gears were identified, supporting this idea. The 2024 discoveries at the Antikythera wreck have added some weight to these questions, kind of. The ship was clearly a big and valuable merchant vessel hauling elite cargo, including statues and marble craft that were already considered old, at least by the time it sank. If the mechanism was actually aboard, then it probably belonged to a wealthy sponsor, someone with a taste for advanced scientific instruments. And now, the recovery of more bronze bits from that second debris field, the one still not fully explained, has made the idea feel a bit more likely that the mechanism wasn't a one-off, not even close. If more such devices existed, that would point to a much richer tradition of mechanical engineering in the ancient world than we had thought before. Maybe even a workshop culture, able to crank out early computational instruments in larger numbers, not just a rare oddity. That would, honestly, shift a lot of the usual timeline, bending the history of science and engineering, and pushing back when complex mechanical technology first took shape. For now, though, researchers are careful, and they haven't verified any second mechanism. The objects are being studied under strict conditions in sealed laboratories, so conclusions are still pending. Still, the mood of the research, the way they talk around it, suggests that something important could be showing up beneath the uncertainty. Either way, whether additional devices are confirmed or not, the possibility alone is strong. It gestures toward a past that was more technologically sophisticated than expected, where knowledge may have been broader, more cutting-edge, and perhaps more distributed than what the surviving records managed to show. The story of the Antikythera Shipwreck is far from over. New discoveries challenge what we thought we knew about ancient technology, art, and history. As researchers continue to explore and analyze, the secrets beneath the sea may rewrite the textbooks, and we'll be here to see it unfold. If you found this fascinating, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss what comes next.